Awesome. So first off, welcome. We appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to come learn about a solution that I think virtually every restaurant should be, at bare minimum, learning more about and testing to see how it can impact their business. And certainly based on our results with our clients, we think virtually everybody should have it for a lot of the reasons that we'll share with you here today. If you've been on a previous webinar with me, you know I don't love PowerPoint, but we have a few slides just to keep us in check. Make sure Pete and Rob don't go too far off script. But so we're excited to have you here. We promise not to be boring. I'm excited to have Pete DiFranco and Rob Pieper here with me. You guys want to introduce yourselves real quick? Just let folks know your restaurant, kind of where you guys are located. You want to start, Pete?
Sure, yeah. My name is Pete DiFranco. I am the IT director for Next Level Brands here in Tampa, Florida. We're a small group. We have currently three restaurants, and we're expanding. We're planning to have 5 or 6 restaurants over the next couple of years. And we started using the AI system probably April this year, right around that time. And it's been just a great success.
Awesome. Rob.
I am Rob. My wife and I have 2 restaurants in Estes Park, Colorado, which is a vacation destination area. We're very seasonal. We've been using the AI answering. I think we started it in May of 23, and it has just been a godsend.
I love it when Rob says that. That's perfect. That certainly piques the attention at the beginning of it. It's like he's in Hollywood. I'm not going to steal Rob's thunder. I think he's probably going to share something that he and I were talking about before we started the call, and if not, I'm gonna prod him later because it's become legend around the Popmenu family here. So awesome. Well, we'll jump right in. Let's start off with some facts. Let's start off with some things that from some surveys that we've run. Surveyed 362 restaurant leaders, 1,000 plus consumers, and then there's a source there that I'm actually going to show you something a little bit later, but 60% of restaurants are struggling to fill roles. That's no shocker. Labor's never easy in this business, certainly in a post-COVID world and everything else that we're dealing with. And depending where you are, labor continues to be difficult, continues to be unpredictable, continues to be more expensive. So finding ways to help make your existing team members more efficient, finding ways to have less of a strain or less of a reliance on new labor and things of that nature, the cost, I think is certainly, again, one of the reasons why at bare minimum you should be exploring some solutions like this. Nearly 50% of hostesses stay in their job for less than a year. That's a great data point. I think actually they stole my thunder with what I'm going to share you. Over 60% of operators are considering AI to answer phones. Virtually every aspect of our life today, whether I'm calling Home Depot or a bank or anything of that nature, consumers are very used to dealing with some level of automation. So one is, it's not new. It's newer to the restaurant space, which historically has been a little bit of a laggard in terms of technology adoption. COVID certainly changed that dynamic. Restaurants have really dove headfirst. We say at Popmenu that COVID brought about once in a generational replatforming of the space. Things like integrations became hot topics and things that people had to understand. Automation, obviously now AI, not just phones, but in other aspects of your business. So we're going to dive into more of that. Nearly 3/4 of consumers are good with AI fielding their calls. I think I'm going to share from my perspective what makes ours unique and why I think ours is better, and some things to consider so that if you don't choose Popmenu and you're looking at other services, there's a couple things that we believe, and data has proven it, that you should be really thinking about, not just taking the order or adding a wait list, but qualifying questions and other things that help alleviate the stress on the team. I sort of started by saying I'm one of the founders at Popmenu, in case I haven't met any of you on the call today. So I've got a lot of experience over the last almost 8 years now. I've probably met with more restaurant owners and their teams than maybe any individual. So I feel like I've got a wide array of examples to share with you today. So we'll start off with a quick poll. On average, how many calls do you believe that you're missing, or if you know, how many calls are you missing at your restaurant in a week because you simply can't get to the phone quickly enough? Maybe it's you're understaffed, or you have high call volumes and you only have one person to man the phones. Could be a variety of reasons. So we'll give you guys about 30, 40 seconds to choose one, and then we'll move on. Awesome. Well, most people believe that they're missing at least a few calls, especially those in the 40 or more category. Those are revenue calls. So let's dive in right into the meat of it, and let's meet AI answering. let me start by saying, on the piggyback of that poll, one of the things we tell everybody, because it's absolutely true, is anybody that's calling your business is calling with the intent to patron. Nobody calls a restaurant without the idea or the intent to become a customer of something, and maybe calling to place an order or add myself to the wait list or place a reservation. I might be inquiring about a catering gig or a large party. There's a lot of reasons why people are calling you, but they're always calling you for the intent to come patron the business. So it's very important that, one, you're able to answer those calls quickly and accurately, and two, you're able to ask additional qualifying questions. For example, I may call to schedule a reservation. For whatever reason, I didn't do it on your site. I just picked up the phone and called you. Maybe I was in the car, who knows? But I pick up the phone to call you. But before I make the reservation, I need to know if you cook with peanut oil, because maybe my kid is allergic. And if I can't get a quick and accurate response or answer to that question, then I just assume it's a negative response. And unfortunately, I move on and I choose the next restaurant. That's important because you didn't just miss a four top there, but two of those people had never been to your restaurant before, which likely would have been repeat customers. One of them would have referred another person, and that person would have done a catering gig in the next 18 or 24 months. So every call is important to make sure that, one, we can answer it quickly, two, we can answer any questions or queries accurately, and also three, if there's an opportunity to make things easier for our staff so that we can guide people, influence them in their decision, all those things are putting in a better spot. Now, depending on where you are, what I think about is, let's talk today about how most restaurants are dealing with phone volume. Today, I typically have someone answering the phone. Let's call it a hostess or a cashier. They get that call. Let's say you're in a market like California or Chicago or Miami or wherever it might be. The reality is, it's not just your hourly wage. Let's say wherever you are, let's just use conservative numbers and say that your hourly wage is $15 an hour. Well, you also have insurance, liability, and other costs to have those folks on-prem. You have training costs to get them up to speed with systems and all of those other things. Potentially, you're offering benefits and other things that also add to the cost of having them. Nothing wrong with all those things. But if I'm paying somebody that type of cost, I really care that Rob is providing great hospitality to the people that are standing right in front of me. What I don't want is to have to be on the phone trying to take an order when I've got a queue building up. That's bad hospitality. So I think that's one thing that I would tell you to think about. I can only handle one call at a time. If I'm trying to take an order over the phone on a busy Thursday evening, there could be a noise distraction, a language barrier. Maybe I've got a newer person that's answering the phone for me, so they can't articulate the menu very well, so the customer doesn't think something's available. They certainly can't guide them to the high profit items or signature dishes that you know will capture that guest attention and get them there. If they place the order over the phone, I don't always capture that person's email address, so that means they can't go into my automated remarketing, which will thank them the next day for that order, capture their email, and promote future things to that person. There's a lot of pitfalls there. Now, instead of having all those challenges and paying, let's say, $25 an hour all in, now think about a solution that can handle 400 calls at the same time. They're great salespeople. They know everything about your business, your menu, your parking situation, your dietary, all of those things. They never call in sick. You never have to train them, because anytime you add a new menu item or feature, they already know it. So everything happens automatically. Now imagine that all these positive things are going to cost you, let's say, 20 to 47 cents an hour. There is no catch. There is no catch. The reality is, if you're using smart technology that is attached and knows about your business, it is a great opportunity to be more efficient with your existing team while still providing better hospitality. Okay? You have opportunities for product placement, influence an immediate revenue opportunity, as well as influence or promote a future revenue opportunity. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But just think about those things and think about your business today and ask yourself, hey, what am I paying all in for this person? It doesn't mean we're trying to replace that person, but if I'm going to pay them that and they can service the people in front of them, they can walk around the facility to promote an upcoming Mother's Day event, something like that. There's a lot of things that person can be doing that are valuable besides answering the phone to tell somebody that you close at 9 o'clock on Sunday, or yes, you have parking in the back. Those are how I would be thinking about this type of solution. Now I'm going to get into the demo, and then we're going to kick it off to our special guest. But let me go into the demo here, and I'm going to walk you through a demo account. So this is our answering backend. So for those of you that are already Popmenu customers, you would find this in your backend. It'd be here under your answering tab and you see that here. For those of you that are not using Popmenu, and for whatever reason, maybe you're not in a position to buy Popmenu platform today, which is the dynamic menu and the site and all the marketing components, we do offer this also as a standalone. So if for whatever reason you're not ready or able to purchase the Popmenu platform, you can absolutely purchase this phone solution as a standalone. You do not have to be a Popmenu customer. You can just leverage this. So I want to make sure that's clear. Now, what I see here is a lot of different things. I'm going to focus on the high level things. You'll notice there's a spam blocker. We're not going to be charging you for spam calls, and there's an opportunity to make that more efficient for the team. You can run this during business hours, 24 hours a day. Here you can see where if somebody calls before hours, after hours, and they have to leave a voicemail, we will transcribe that voicemail and we will send it to a multitude of people, however you choose. And we'll also do our best to prioritize the nature of that voicemail. If somebody's calling about a large party or a catering gig, things that are higher ticket items, we want to make sure that the first call, the second you have an opportunity to call somebody back, you're addressing the high priority calls from the get-go. I think that's really important. Voice. Today we have currently 8 voice options. We are expanding on that. We are also scoping out Spanish. It can certainly be very beneficial. What I get in here is the greetings. Now this is a demo account, so I just drafted something really fast. You don't have to be as wordy. You can customize to say whatever you want. A couple of key features with the greeting. 1, it's a great opportunity, like I said, influence an immediate revenue opportunity. That could be product placement, highlighting your high profit items, a new item, a new brunch menu, whatever that might be. What we've seen, it's been somewhat manual, but what we've seen is that when restaurants are putting in some product placement in their greetings, we are seeing an increase in engagement with that item on the menu and in their site. Ultimately, in a lot of cases, we're seeing an uptick of sales of that item, certainly when they're using our ordering because we have access to that complete data set. Sometimes really small, sometimes noticeable. The point is, these are the types of things that you can be testing out because the majority of them are going to have a positive impact on your business, okay? You'll also notice things like calls to action. So in this example, I have a call to action for ordering. Maybe you're a full service and you're more focused on reservations or wait listing. Majority of the calls to your business are direct revenue opportunities, meaning they're calling to place the order, the reservation, the catering. But again, you will have a segment of calls that are calling about what we call qualifying questions. Do you cook with peanut oil? Do you have gluten-free options? Things of that nature. So it is important, whether it's Popmenu solution or another solution you might be exploring, that you think about those things as well. If not, you won't optimize those people that are calling to actually do one of those things, meaning orders, reservations, etc. You'll notice here in the farewell, that's a great opportunity from our perspective to plug a future revenue opportunity. Like I mentioned, could be catering, could be a large party or an event venue, could be an upcoming Mother's Day, could be a live music event, whatever that might be, a merchandise page, a sister concept. So think about ways to take advantage of those things. Again, this is making sure that that gets done versus maybe a newer hire that forgets to plug some of those things. Again, there's a lot of little things that as you continue to address them over time, they have a really big impact. Now, I'm going to show you this next piece, which is custom responses. So basically what we have here is any category of question that a consumer or a guest would ask of your business. Do you have gluten-free options? Are you pet friendly? Do you have kids menus? Do you have karaoke? What times are you closing? All those questions we think about. Think about that person that's all in at $25, $30 an hour. Is it really the best use of their time to answer those really basic queries? I would argue that it's not. As you drill down into this, and again, our team can assist you with this. We know the common questions that your business is getting asked. If you're a Popmenu customer, we are integrating your Google business profile page, so we certainly have access to that type of information as well. Here you can see that as I go down, I can choose one of these. Do you serve craft beer? And you can see we have this response. I can easily edit that and then update my response, and away we go. I'm going to call our demo account real quick. I'm going to ask it a few questions just so you can hear sort of the quality of the voice, as well as maybe some of the responses. I will tell you that this is a demo account that we use, and so sometimes some of our team members get a little bit wordy. So I would encourage you not to be overly wordy. You do want to think about being able to answer somebody's query quickly, accurately, so they can get on to their next question or get on to their call to action. Let's go back to the greeting here. If you are on your computer or phone, if you turn up the volume, you should be able to hear it just fine. I'm going to turn up my volume, and I'm just going to call this demo account so you can hear the quality.
Thank you for calling Epic Burger in historic Naperville, home to Chicago's best burgers. Come enjoy our famous triple epic or an award-winning cowboy burger. They're delicious. I'm here to serve you, so please ask me anything. If you would like to place an order, simply say order please. Anything else, just ask. So, how can I help?
Are you pet friendly?
Absolutely. Your furry friends are welcome on our patio. Registered service dogs are also welcome in our dining room. We have a fresh bowl of water and biscuit ready for that. What other questions do you have?
Do you have gluten-free options?
Yes. Nearly all items can be served gluten-free. I am texting you a link now so you can view your options. Do you have any other questions?
Can I place an order, please?
The best way to place an order is through our website. I'm texting you a link now to place an order for today. Don't forget to check out our featured buffalo chicken pizza. And don't forget a cold bottle of Coke or Sprite to top off your order. Is there anything else I can help with?
Goodbye.
Thanks again for calling Epic Burger. Don't forget us for your next epic gathering or party. Whether you have 10 people or 10,000 people, our menu is designed to make sure that everyone in your party is covered. Check out our catering page or simply call back and ask for catering. Have a great rest of the day.
Awesome. So hopefully you were able to hear that okay. As you can see, I asked a few questions. I don't know that you'll be able to see it here on my screen, but when I call to place an order, it sends me a link to my dynamic menu. So one question we get is, hey, can they just do voice ordering? Our philosophy and what we've heard from feedback from consumers and from restaurants is voice ordering can get confusing. We again think that there are potential more opportunities for errors or things that don't go as smoothly. When you get this text on the menu, right, then I get to see, if you're a Popmenu customer, I get to see your dynamic menu, where you likely have some quality imagery, you have featured items, which are likely your high profit items or signature dishes. And one, we think that influences a better conversion rate, and two, it gives you a better opportunity to drive up your average guest check. Three, when they complete that order online, they are becoming a follower of the business. And so if you're using Popmenu, then the automation kicks in. I thank Rob for his order. I can customize that to give him 10% off his next order if he comes back in 10 days. You can just put it on autopilot. And ultimately, we think that that's the better way to service people. Same thing would happen for reservations and wait lists today. We are working on some future generation stuff. So for example, let's say that Jenny orders from us a lot. And if she's a VIP or if she's a follower of our business because we have her in the system, we're working on the ability to greet Jenny by name. Also remember Jenny's last action. Hey, Jenny, great to hear from you. Are you calling to place another reservation? Yes, great. Sending you the link now. Jenny, are you calling to place an order? Yes. Would you like the same order as last time, the pepperoni pizza and the Caesar salad? Those are things we are working on that we think continue to make the experience better and better. One of the things about Popmenu and our philosophy is, as we assign people on, whether it's for answering or whether it's for our core offerings, the Popmenu platform, is we don't raise people's rates. So as we roll out those new features, as we enhance the product, those things are just going to be common with what you receive. So hopefully that made a lot of sense. And they've already pulled up this in the slide. This is a great little data source. I haven't looked at everything in there, so just know, this is my opinion and I'm just looking at this, but this is showing you, like we shared in the slide, most hostesses, or the people that are typically taking care of those phone volumes, almost half the people last less than 1 year. You can drill down, I believe, in this report. So if you're in Tampa, if you're in Boston, wherever you might be, you can actually see if that's a higher percentage where you are. What I think about is you guys are in the busiest profession on the planet. If you go through all this expense and all this training, and then Jenny just leaves in 6 or 7 months, you're back on the hamster wheel. So you do want to think about that aspect of it, right? Maybe your labor situation is better, maybe your turnover isn't as bad, but most people in the first 2 years, almost 80% of their host staff turns over, right? So think about that also as a factor in why you would at least experiment, if not fully commit to a solution like this. All right, I've rambled long enough. Rob, I love this story. I don't know if you're going to kick it off. but I'm going to let you go. But you told us that one day your phones were so out of control, your wife actually put the phone in a drawer and closed it, so you didn't have to listen to it ringing. Help me understand how we have helped you and your wife and your sanity.
Our phones were ringing out of control. And there's a certain point you just have to get rid of it. And she put it in a drawer. It's hard to get mad when you can't answer it either. We tried several options during COVID. Our phone volume just went through the roof. We set up a call center. We set up a new phone system. Never got it to work right. We had some shifts, we had 5 hosts on, mainly to answer the phone and to answer the silly questions. Where are you located? What are your hours? There were quite a few orders. And so when Popmenu, when you introduced this, it's like, this is what I was looking for and was working with my IT guy for a year trying to get. Once we got it implemented, got it set up, I took an afternoon off, sat at my desk, sat at my deck actually at home, and I was able to put in all of the responses the way I wanted to. Not, okay, I've got 5 people standing in front of me, and I need to make this call quickly and be fairly abrupt. When you call and you ask for directions, we can send you a link. When you're in a tourist town, unfortunately, people don't know where they're at. So you have to ask where they're at, try to figure out how to get them to at least the general area, and then to find you. I send them a link. They open it up in their maps, and they're here. I've been amazed at the number of people who also would prefer to place their order online than to talk to anyone.
That's a relatively common thing that we hear about too. Is because when something's new like this, it's natural to say, hey, I want to make sure, I want to feel good that my guests are going to like it, and then and what you find is that, and I do think that partly this is like a post-COVID world where restaurants adapted, so did consumers, and they realized some of the stuff they were going to have to adapt to, and they got more comfortable with it over time, and so that's a very common topic. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, and before we had AI answering, I would get my morning phone report from the day before, and we would have missed 30 to 50 calls. And as the owner, I know that they're not all sales, but as an owner, you're thinking of how many sales did I miss? 50 sales.
Right.
And now they're answered 24/7. I'm not staying up all night long to answer the phone.
I love that. Obviously, they filled a lot of calls here. You can see the estimated hours that we've saved and the percentage of calls that are tied to what we refer to as direct revenue. Because I would argue every call is a revenue call, but there are direct revenue calls, meaning I'm intent to purchase basically now or in the immediate future. That is awesome. And yeah, you mentioned 7 to 8 calls, or you missed maybe 7 to 8 orders a day. Obviously, that adds up over time. And the key thing is you could be missing more, right? You never know. But what I think about that is think about 8 orders a day, and let's just say 6 days a week, because maybe one day someone's closed, or maybe it's a slower day on a Monday or Tuesday, whatever that might be. You're still looking at roughly 45 to 50 calls that are likely calling with the intent to patron the business within a 24-hour period. I also think about those calls drive the revenue, but it's again another great way to build up your community of followers, and that is invaluable to any business, big or small. So thank you for sharing that. One last thing I want to say about Rob, and hopefully I don't mess this up, but at Popmenu we heard the story where I think it was Rob, right? You had your staff, or a couple of people in your staff came and said, hey, are we okay? Because the phone's not ringing. Like, what's going on? Or is the business okay? And Rob's like, man, are you seeing our orders? We're good. Maybe you could tell real quickly about that.
After the first week of implementing the AI answering, my manager, my hosts came up to me and said, what's going on? We're not getting any orders. It's like, well, no, you're delivering a lot, but we're not answering any phone calls. It's like, no, the system is doing it. And so we went from the 5 hosts that we had to 2.
Wow.
And now the biggest problem with the AI answering is It is so good and so comprehensive that when the phone rings, we don't know exactly what that is. It's like, okay, you have to pick up the phone. And with the turnover of staff, we're so seasonal. We have high school kids, we have foreign students that work for us. They don't know the town, they don't know the area.
Yeah.
I can get all of that. I can answer the phone every time now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's made it's Popmenu lore around here. So, and that's not the first time we've heard something similar. So, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's really powerful. All right, next level brands. Pete, you've used AI to answer over 70,000 calls so far. Estimated savings of nearly 1,000 hours. Help the group understand, how has this made a difference for your staff and most importantly your guests?
I mean, really, it's been a game changer, Tony. It's been really it's hard to even put specifics on it, but it's been crazy. It's like we just were inundated with phone calls. We opened a restaurant in January of last year, and we were getting, someplace between 2,000 and 3,000 calls a week. Missing, as you said at the beginning, that the biggest thing was missed calls, and we were missing hundreds of calls a week. And that's all money. Since the AI, obviously we haven't missed any calls, which is great. We get, it answers every time. We've had the biggest change with staff is their availability to guests as they come in the restaurant. As you talked about that before, and a restaurant person or a restaurant group, the host team is the first impression of the restaurant as far as staffing, and to have people available to talk to guests, not be preoccupied with answering phone calls. It's just been, like I said, it's just been a game changer. It's just more interaction between host team and customers, happier customers when they come in the restaurant because they get served right away, much faster response time as far as getting them to a table. It's been so amazing as far as what we're seeing as the customer response, as far as phone calls we're getting. One thing that I don't think you actually touched on is that when people actually do place a call and have to talk to someone in the restaurant, it's a much quicker phone call. So they've had most of their answers done over the phone with the AI system. So when they actually have to talk to a host member, it's a much quicker interaction on the phone. So the host team is only on the phone for a few minutes instead of a 5 or 10 minute phone call. It's now just a couple minutes, get their questions answered, and back to doing what we want them to do, which is serve the guests.
Right.
At one of our other locations, our Forbici location, they actually had to hire a person on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights just to come in and answer the phone. That's their only job. That's what they were doing. And since then, that person has now been used in a different position in the restaurant. We have to hopefully we try not to fire people, obviously. So we're using them as a different position. But we don't have to have someone just answering phone calls, which is it's a huge money saver and it's a huge time saver. And like I said, it's been incredible for us. We are so happy with all that it's brought to us, and the ease of use is another thing that I don't think you touched on. That my own burning person, Sarah, was amazing, and we had it up and running within a couple hours. It was very, very simple.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. I think those are all great points. I think it's the other thing that I think about, like Pete in the group is in Florida, which is obviously seeing a big migration, people moving into the state, moving to different parts of the state. And so it's just another example of another reason why having a system to help deal with the efficiency is you have people that are newer to the area, might be calling to get certain information that maybe a local, has, but they're new. So there's just all those different dynamics that you're constantly juggling there. And, we listened here to the revenue generating calls, but I think you touched on it generally speaking, but it sounds like in general, not only have you been more efficient in terms of time saving the efficiency of the staff, but from the guest perspective, it's ultimately led to them getting their queries or their requests handled faster, and that's led to more revenue in general, correct?
It has, yeah. And the biggest thing in revenue is obviously that, but also we're seeing a huge jump in online ordering from being able to get that link to customers instantly instead of them searching for it online. So, when someone calls, say, I want to place an order, we send them the text message with the link. We don't send them actually right to the website. We send them the link right to the ordering page from the website. And so they can place an order instantly. And so we've seen a big jump in the revenue from the online ordering. And the nice thing about that as well is kind of switching a lot of customers from the Uber Eats platform to our restaurant platform, because they have that link immediately. So they're not searching and saying, hey, let me look for Uber Eats. And so that's a savings in our time, our end too, as well, because we're not paying that Uber Eats fee. We're getting more customers to place internal orders instead of third-party orders, and that's been a big change. So that's
huge.
Really been a big change for us is the online ordering.
That's huge. And I have a screenshot. I know we're coming on time, so I'm going to move on. I appreciate you sharing that. I think that's really powerful. But both guys, I think those are great use cases, and I think relatively common challenges that are being addressed, across the country. Here's just another one, Kapow Noodle Bar. You can see the impact that we've had here. They were able to generate an estimated 1.6 million in revenue from links that were automatically sent from the phone answering system. What's also interesting is, Pete touched on the ease of use and I'm going to show you here with this next slide, but in your back end, we'll have reporting that's helping you understand things like resolution rate. Hey, what are they calling about? If you know that 68% of your calls are about reservations or ordering, then that's a piece of data that allows you to go back and adjust your greeting so that you can prompt people for order or reservation faster in the greeting so that that time period is quick. That is certainly something that's also important in having a high resolution rate. The longer those messages go before they can get to what they want, you may have some drop off, or again, they can also route to a team member at any time. That's really up for you to decide. So this is an example of that report for a client. So you can see that there's constantly data. We are continuing to evolve this information. One of the things we're working on, I alluded to earlier, was making it more automated to understand the impact like product placement has on purchase rate and things like that. Those are all things that we are continuing to work on, along with the latency, the speed of the response. So those are things as you're thinking about investing in a tool, or if you're thinking about investing in the Popmenu thing. Not only are all these things great reasons to make that decision now, but you should know that it's only going to get better. And as we lock people in, and as we sign you up, we lock you in at your rates. So we don't raise those rates on you, which I think is another thing to think about, because there will be more and more people coming in the market. Happy to help. Our job is to service you guys and make your lives easier. What we really pride ourselves on at Popmenu is trying to take technologies like this, really make them easy for you to understand, easy to use, and automate as much as we can, because we know that you're busy. But hopefully you saw with these two gentlemen, these two professional operators, that it's having a big impact, and I'm sure it can have a very similar impact for you. Pete, Rob, really appreciate y'all's time. I think it's better when they hear from operators and people that are in the business, as opposed to just me talking. Of course, I talked way more than I said I would, but you knew that was going to happen. So thank you for your participation today. Check out their restaurants. If you're there, we put them up at the beginning of the thing here. So Next Level Brands and Poppy's Pizza and Grill. If you're in Tampa or if you're in the Colorado area, give them a stop in. But well, thanks everybody. Again, Tony at popmenu.com. Hope this was valuable for you guys. Pete, Rob, thanks again. Have a great week.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care.